Hey everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Morgan with Ascend Chiropractic, and today I want to be teaching you how to strengthen your pelvic core. This is really protective for low back pain. It's protective for long days at work, whether you're on your feet or seated, either one. So come on, join me back here. All right, so the thing with the pelvic core is all of our pelvic cores are weak. Right? We're not designed to spend all day seated, and humanity hasn't evolved fast enough to have this be our natural position. And the reality is, it wouldn't have been too many years ago, we all would have sat around the fire like this, right? There wouldn't have been any chairs. So what I find a lot in the office is people's cores get weak, and then if the core is too weak, what it has to do is lock the SI joints to create stability. Even if it's a bad stability, the body needs to be stable enough so that it can do what it needs to. And the reality is, even if I was, let's say, having coffee or tea with somebody, to reach to grab that glass, my pelvic core has to fire to create stability. So what I tend to notice is if, let's say, a chiropractor only does a chiropractic adjustment, right? A great way to look at this is Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? In that story, the porridge was too cold, it was too hot, and then it was just right. And that's how we really need to think about the pelvic core, the low back, and the SI joints, right? They can be too tight, they can be too loose, or they can be just right. And so if somebody comes in and they think all they need is a simple adjustment because their low back or SI joints are too tight, if you adjust those and there's no core stability, if it's too weak, the body will automatically go back to too tight to create that stability. So there's a place right in the middle that we have to get to, and a great way to do that is by building core stability. So the first thing to think about with this is there were a lot of ways that they used to train this, like doing Kegels and firing the pelvic core, but it was really difficult for people to access those muscles. So the way I teach it is like if a little kid was punching you in the stomach, right? There's a way that you would tighten your belly up to kind of protect against that. In yoga, sometimes they'll describe pulling your belly button back to your spine, but I want you to pull your belly in as if you're guarding or protecting that. That's the first step. And the reality is, sometimes when I ask people to do that, it should be like turning on a light. It should go on and stay solid, right? And a lot of people, it'll like kind of go on and then it'll get weak, or it'll be good 3 times, but then on like the 4th time of doing it, it'll be about 50% as strong, right? So it might fire slow, it might go on and then slightly off, or it might get weak really quick. And the way to check that, there's the bony area on the front part of your hips. If you can find it and then just go a little bit medial from there, there's soft tissue, and when you fire the belly, you'll feel that move under your fingers, right? So that can be the first step. Like, okay, I need to fire that to create good stability, right? To start getting the core stronger. And the reality is, when it comes to muscle strength, the first thing that needs to develop is a good neurological connection to the muscles, right? The nerve is communicating with the muscle. So that's the first step. Now, they tested a bunch of different exercises. They would hook up electrodes and see, when this person does this exercise, which muscles are firing and are those the ones we want to. So the number one exercise for building core stability, yes, there's things like crunches and Supermans, and there's all these other things to do. A really great foundational one to do that's easy is just a simple hip bridge. All right, so I'm gonna demonstrate here. You'll want to do this on the floor, not in bed. Beds tend to be too soft. You start by firing the belly, and then from there, you're just lifting the hips up and back down. So when you're doing that, I don't want it to cause any pain. For some people, just firing the core and starting to activate those muscles, that's the starting place. But if you can do it without pain, again, it's fire the core, hold it, hip bridge up, back down, relax. Fire the core, hip bridge up, back down, relax, right? So that is the way to move through that. If you can do 10 of those, move to 20. If you can do 20 of those, move to 30. And probably the next place to go from that to make them more difficult is you can put your foot on a Bosu ball, a pillow, you can put it up on the edge of a couch. You can use something like a Thera roll or foam roller, and then you'll drop your sets back down because you're making them more difficult. So again, you need the pelvic core to get stronger and stronger so that the hips aren't locking in to create a false stability. That false stability causes pain. It's probably the number one thing that people go to chiropractors to see around their low back. And so you need that balance. You need strength as well as flexibility so that your low back can be happy and healthy and support you throughout the day. Now, if you have issues with this, if you have pain, if you're having numb or tingle down the legs, don't push it. Feel free to reach out to the office. We can jump on a phone call, see what's going on, and see how I might be able to help you, either with directions over the phone or in the office.